Oh, what just happened? Where'd the music go? That was weird. This is the Baofeng slash Radiodity UV-5G. Not to be confused with the UV-5X. The UV-5X had a myriad of issues. Supposedly they came out with a Gen 2 that fixed a lot of them. However, there's no way of really knowing that you got a Gen 1 or Gen 2. So what I think Baofeng did is they handed this radio off to Radiodity, and they said, you guys deal with GRMS, you guys fix it. I don't know what their relationship is as far as companies go, but I think intimately, they are pretty fond of each other. So this is the UV-5G. It is basically the completely fixed UV-5X. This is a GRMS only radio. However, like all Baofengs, I haven't looked into it, but there's usually a way of unlocking it. Because under the hood, this is still a modified UV-5R, if not just from the looks on the outside, but probably even the looks on the inside. Like I said, this radio was sent off to Radiodity to be produced and sold through their store. And naturally being a Radiodity, it requires an SMA male antenna, which was kind of annoying because I already own these stubby antennas and I wanted to actually put these to use besides just leaving them in their nunchuck configuration. But these are SMA female, so I had to order new antennas. These are the diamond antennas. These are the Abrees. I haven't cracked these open, but I've seen in reviews people break them open, and the diamond is literally just a coil of wire to be a normal antenna, but just shortened up. But there's no loading element, so these are kind of bad antennas. However, I did put this on the antenna analyzer, and despite being short, the SWR is not actually too bad for GRMS. So these antennas are living with these radios now because they have a lower SWR than the ones that come with this GRMS radio. Because like most Baofengs, when you buy their GRMS version, they still give you a dual band ham antenna. And I don't, like, is it really that hard to produce a single line of antennas and include them with your GRMS radios? I don't know. But this antenna, ironically, performs better as far as the SWR goes, maybe not the resonance of the stock antenna. These Abree antennas, I've seen people crack them open and it is still the same coil, but you can see another coil and a capacitor, a little ceramic capacitor going across. So the Abrees, from what I can tell, have a loading element. The diamonds and all the other brands do not. But getting back on topic, these are functionally the same as a UV-5R. The menu's identical. The function's identical. The only thing that's really different from what I can tell is the firmware is flashed differently. Actually, I'm not going to turn that one on. But yeah, same menu system, same sounds, same odd button layout where this one is a very scratchy plastic and these are like soft rubber. I guess that kind of gives you a feel to make sure you're on the right button. You get the same programmability of these two buttons if you want. You can still hold down the monitor button that is labeled MONI. Supposed to be short for monitor. I would have just done MON. You can still switch to VFO MR mode. I guess MR is memory remembered. Which is actually kind of weird that the UV-5R came out, and then everything else is an offshoot of the UV-5R, but most other Baofengs, you have to turn it off, hold the menu, turn it back on, and it'll switch to your VFO mode. But this one actually has a dedicated VFO button. So you can still monitor all frequencies that are capable on a normal UV-5R. This is just a GRMS version. That was weird. On your right side, just like a UV-5R, you have your K1 port. Just like any other UV-5R, the volume knob is very loose, and just like all of my other radios, you can go to Amazon or anywhere that sells O-ring kits, and you can just pick up a whole box of O-rings for less than $10, and you can put it around your volume knob to increase the resistance. You don't have to go onto one of these other YouTubers' stores and pay $6 for a volume tensioner. You can just use your own O-rings. Another issue I found with this radio is the antenna that it comes with mates up to it very nicely. But this, if I can get all the O-rings out, this antenna port just goes on for miles. So I got 2 O-rings on there. You can see just how long this SMA connection is. So if you don't have any kind of gaskets or O-rings, there's a gap, and all that stress is being put onto the SMA connector and none of it on the shoulder of the antenna itself. So this isn't a perfect solution. I would still rather 3D print like a spacer for here, but as little as these are going to be used, this is just fine. I just did 2 antenna gaskets. It came with other radios. Make sure they're not getting caught in the threads. And there you go. No more visual gap, but functionally it's still just hanging on to the SMA connector itself. These use all the same batteries as the Baofeng's UV-5Rs. These actually came from a UV-5R that I upgraded with USB-C capable batteries. So these now live on here, and I have the original ones still charged up somewhere. So with these Baofengs, it honestly doesn't matter too much that these aren't rechargeable in the field, because they are so cheap, they're so light, they're so compact that you can just swap them out. I personally love the UV-5R because it is one of the smallest radios that you can buy, whether it's the ham version or the GRMS version, which is why I like these, because they're really the only GRMS version of the UV-5R that works properly from what I've tested so far. So you get a nice quirky looking compact radio to keep in your kit. So I made them even more compact with their own compact antenna rather than the stock one, and I like them this way. So that's it for the UV-5G. Just a brief overview. I didn't go into any detail because at the end of the day, it's still just a UV-5R that is properly tuned for GRMS only.